Are you a local business owner who's just stuck, looking to scale your business? Maybe you're just burnt out. If your business needs you to survive, you don't own a business. You simply own a very stressful job. But don't worry, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Business Owner's Freedom Formula Show with your host, Paul Maskill.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening, and welcome back to another episode of the Business Owner's Freedom Formula Show, where we chat with inspiring entrepreneurs and dig into their highs, lows, and everything in between of their business building journey and learn about how they've been able to achieve ultimate freedom. In today's episode number 9, we have another great guest with us here today. But before we get started, just a quick reminder that you can get all the show notes for this show and any show by going to our website, paulmaskill.com. And if you're looking to mastermind with other like-minded business owners, jump into our free Facebook group at bizfreedomformula.com. So that is our introduction. And with our guest here today is Wally Carmichael. Wally is a husband, father, retired medic, Department of the Army operations specialist, and podcast host of the Men of Abundance podcast. He was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and joined the Army at the age of 20 for the educational benefits, opportunity to travel, and to escape what was clearly a destructive lifestyle. Wally is grateful to have traveled to 23 countries on 5 continents. He and his family have lived in Panama, Germany, Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, great place, and currently lives in Hawaii. Next to family, his greatest passion is hosting his Men of Abundance podcast, the Pay It Forward community, where he has conversations with other abundant leaders, as well as up-and-coming entrepreneurs, authors, and thought leaders doing amazing things in their community. So, without further ado, that is Wally Carmichael from Men of Abundance. Welcome, Wally. How's it going today?
It is going very amazing, getting the day started early as usual. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Yes, we are about 6 hours different, so at time of recording it is 10:30 where I am in Raleigh. And Wally is up at 4:30 in the morning in Hawaii. So definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your day for being here. Give us a little bit more, a little bit more in depth on your intro. What are you up to today?
Oh, it is Aloha Friday. And today I'm normally at this point in time, I'm getting started on my workout. I've already gotten hydrated. Have my morning routine that I get started with, but I'm breaking that up just a little bit just for you, Paul. And for all your listeners, and I'm excited to do so. I really am. Well,
you're a good man, and a recurring theme that we have with a lot of the successful business owners and entrepreneurs on the show is that morning routine. So give us a little insight into why that is so important for you and how it gets you started on the right foot.
Well, we're going to figure that out today. I'll tell you what, because I'm breaking up the routine a little bit. My morning routine is extremely, extremely important. When I'm not doing my morning routine, I'm just not productive throughout my day, throughout my week. I have to have that routine. And the routine, whatever it is to the individual, is whatever it is. That's what you do, I don't think is as important, as long as you have a routine that is leading on a productive path. So for me, I get up, very first thing I do is I get a tall glass of water, usually with some lemon juice in it, a little bit of Himalayan pink salt. And that's the first thing that I do, because I've been sleeping all night, usually 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours. And that's a long time to be basically dehydrating your body. Then I go ahead and I can do my workout right here on my back lanai. I got everything I need right here, and get my workout done in about 30, 40 minutes. And then after that, I sit on the back lanai while I'm cooling down. I do my little meditation, and maybe by that time I've already gotten my coffee's already kicked in and going. So I'll grab me a cup of coffee and sit down and just kind of chill out as the sun's starting to come up.
Awesome. That's great insight. And I mean, like you said, everybody's routine can be different. I think the key takeaway is to have some sort of routine to take care of yourself before you try and go serve other people, whether it's your clients or customers, family, friends. Really got to take care of yourself, and no better way to do it than start out every day doing so. So we're going to rewind a little bit. Your intro hit on escaping a destructive lifestyle. So what was kind of going on, and how did that, play a determining factor into where you are today with the Men of Abundance kind of focus?
Yeah. So first thing I want to say is, I grew up with some amazing people. I really did. But the environment that I grew up in was very destructive. Drugs, and it was Southwest Phoenix. I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a movie out there with George Lopez. It's called Spare Parts. And that movie I recommend it. It's a really very inspiring movie. And it's a movie about some kids who went to Carl Hayden High School. And they were very good at mechanics and whatnot. And they went up against a competition up against MIT and other colleges for these robotics. They won that competition. And they did it with Spare Parts. That's the high school that I graduated from. So if you kind of really want to see the environment that I grew up in, go check that out. And it was even more challenging for a young white boy with long blonde hair growing up in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood with, I say gangs, but it's not gangs quite like LA, but definitely that gang type mentality. And it was a tough upbringing, but my friends at the time, being who they were at the time, it was always, a lot of fights, drugs, and just not a good environment. So I knew right away, I wanted to get away from that environment. It was just extremely destructive. In fact, many of my friends, I was just talking to a friend just recently, this week, in fact, my oldest friend I've known since 6th grade got a great job finally, but they found out his background, and he's been incarcerated several times. So they called him in and they said, you can no longer, we no longer need your services, which really sucks because he served his time and he's done some stuff that we'd rather not talk about right now. But, he served his time, and I just knew that's the path I was going to end up on. So I did not want to be there.
Very inspiring. I think, to have the wherewithal to notice that, but then also realize, and we talk a lot about it on the shows, that you do have a choice, and you made that choice, probably sooner than most people do. And fast forwarding now, sounds like you're trying to pay that back with your Pay It Forward community, the Men of Abundance podcast. So what is Men of Abundance all about?
So Men of Abundance really came about, it's taken on a life of its own. I had no idea it was going to go the route that it has at this point. And it started because I had been chasing after money for so long. My entire adult, even as a young child, I was entrepreneurial. I always knew I wanted to start some sort of a business, but I never had the business acumen to really actually start a business. So I got into multi-level marketing, network marketing, internet affiliate marketing, all kinds of stuff like that. Every little thing, a way to, and for the most part, the motivation was to make money and to live this dream lifestyle of, freedom and the whole bit, sitting on the beach making money. Well, and I did that for so long. And then one day my eyes were opened, and I have to give all of the praise to my wife, because she's the one that's always stood by me the whole time and saying, what are you chasing? What are you chasing? She kept asking me this, and finally it just hit me. And I had been living in Hawaii for the second time, about 3 or 4 years at this point. And I realized that I have a healthy family. I have 3 very healthy boys. I've had an amazing career at this point. I've done things that most people only, most people take to the grave. They only dream of, they never accomplish. I live in a beautiful part of the world. I live in this amazing island of Oahu in Hawaii. And I just realized I am, in fact, living a life of abundance. Ironically enough, about that same time, I was introduced to a book writing coach and a keynote speaker coach. And him and I got to talking, and I decided to write this book called Living Your Life of Abundance, because I knew I was living this life of abundance. And as I look around me, other people can too, without having to have a 6- and 7-figure income and chasing after that. Because what I found is most people are chasing after the 6- and 7-figure income without realizing what they have in their life right now today. The cool thing about this is once I made that realization, so much more started coming into my life. I started getting, it was amazing. I started getting introduced to people like you. I started getting introduced to people that were just doing amazing things. The ironic thing is they were always there. My eyes weren't open. Other opportunities started opening up. Other ideas started opening up. Then I got introduced to podcasts. And I had already been listening to one podcast, but I didn't know that there was much else out there. I got introduced to people like Pat Flynn and John Lee Dumas, and I realized that I could start this podcast. So let me back up just a second. As I was writing the book, I realized the book is all about me. And I didn't want the book to be me. I wanted it to be other stories. I wanted some validation that what I believe in living your life of abundance is true. And not just in my life, but in other people's lives. So long story short, really, I decided that podcasting, if I got a podcast, that would open up a medium and give an audience to other people that I could have a conversation with that probably would not have a conversation with me one-on-one. People like Jay Papasan, the co-author of The One Thing. So many other people that were living these amazing lives, and not just top influencers, people that everyday walk of life that you would never know are living these amazing lives because of their mindset and the decisions that they've made. And now, here we are 7 months into it, and now people are contacting me, and I'm being referred to people, and they're saying, hey, can so-and-so contact you? They need help with this part of their life. I want coaching in abundance and this type of stuff. And I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Now I'm working on getting a program started for a membership site to get a bunch of men together and start living a life of abundance and everything in family, faith, finances, and fitness.
Wow. Awesome story, and, definitely a journey there to take note of. And I think, the key takeaway that I got of that really, and I've started practicing more and more of it, is really just realizing, like you said, how lucky we are, how abundant our life is. We're always chasing something ahead of us, and sometimes we just stop and forget and look around how lucky we are, look what we've accomplished, and, like you said, a lot of people don't realize that. So, that's actually part of my morning routine is just, I have a gratitude journal that I write in and, things I'm grateful for every day. Cause sometimes when you don't stop and think about that and realize it, it does get in the way of other things. So that is awesome story, definitely inspiring. So now that you're kind of, taking on a life of its own, what is a normal day, quote unquote, normal day in the life of Wally Carmichael?
So yeah, we already got into part of the morning routine, and everyday part of my routine as well is once I get showered and stuff like that, then I I sit down, I write in my journal. I actually generally have about 4 journals that I write in because 2 of them are just for my wife. And one is kind of business, and then the other one is, and the other one's kind of personal that I just jotting down just thoughts that I have going on in my head. Because if I don't write them down, I forget about them. Especially when I'm working out, I seem to have the most amazing thoughts when I'm working out and afterwards. But, and then part of that as well is an attitude of gratitude. I'm always giving thanks for things around me. And sometimes giving thanks is something as simple as, I'm glad I had a cup of coffee this morning and clean water to, make my coffee with or even to drink in the morning. To, thanks for my wife for pointing me in the right direction so many times. But then after that, I get on my bike, and most mornings I get on my bike, I ride over to, we have this naval magazine. It's like a little naval base, about a 12, 15-minute bike ride away. I have a kayak over there, and I kayak across Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
And if you ever look at a map, and I can share an image with you of where this is at and what it looks like. I kayak across Pearl Harbor. That takes me about 9 to 12 minutes, depending on the winds and the current. And then I have my truck over on the other side on Hickam Air Force Base. I go a little bit technical. I go to the gym, rinse off, and then I go to work. I still work. I retired from the Army about 2 years ago this month, as a matter of fact. And as I was retired, about 4 months in, I wasn't doing anything, and I got a call, and they said, hey, you want to come back and do one of the jobs that you were doing while you were on active duty? And one of the 20 jobs that I was doing, I could certainly handle. So, because on active duty we do so much. So I'm literally working in the same office I was at when I retired, and I love every minute of it because I'm still working around soldiers. I'm still working in the medical center. I've been in this facility over 9 years now, and it's just a great place to, to work and, do what I got to do.
Wow, very cool. So that is a action-packed day for sure. Love all the physical fitness that you tie into it, and you're still, doing something that you're passionate about and love doing. And I think that's really what we're all kind of striving for as business owners, entrepreneurs, just in general, is that freedom. So, with that being said, you quote unquote have a job, but it doesn't really sound like it's a job to you. So how do you maintain your freedom with that, with your family? And all the things you got going on? What are some key tips that you have in place?
Well, here's the cool thing about that is, yes, I have this job, and, some people would look at that, well, that's not freedom and that's not entrepreneurial. Well, here's the thing. This is part of living your life of abundance. If you really enjoy what you're doing, then do that. But you see, the difference with me and working where I'm at and so many other people is I'm not stuck there. I don't have to work there. Now, I will clarify that. Living in Hawaii and living the lifestyle that I literally live on the beach. I open my doors, I can hear the waves crashing in on the beach, the birds, singing, the wind, nice cool breeze. It's amazing. But to live in Hawaii, even with the residual income that I've built up at this point in time, and to live the lifestyle and to be able to travel and stuff, I still need the additional income. However, if I just decided, you know what, I don't want to work here no more, or we just decided we just want to move to Florida or to San Antonio, Texas, we can just up and leave. I'm not stuck. I'm not tied down. That's the freedom that I have. That's the freedom that I've created for myself and my family. And as far as, the podcast and stuff like this, my job gives me the freedom to, when I have an interview during the day, I just go out to my truck. I do 90% of my podcast from the cab of my Toyota Tacoma.
Nice.
A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I have an outlet in the back of my truck if I need more power. I run an extension cord back there, and I got everything set up to do everything right from the cab of my truck. It's nice and quiet in there. The acoustics work, and I'll do the interview, and I'll go right back to work. And if I have to stay a couple more hours, I stay another hour or whatever. I make sure I get my time in, but to earn that paycheck, right?
Yeah.
But again, I enjoy the people. I like the people that I work with, and I enjoy what I'm doing, but I'm not tied down to it. And that's the freedom that I have.
That is great. And I think that's really, inspiring in the sense that freedom isn't necessarily having the ability to do nothing. I mean, it's like, you love what you're doing, and the words of encouragement to tell everybody, if you love what you're doing, keep doing it. Even if it is quote unquote a job, if that's part of your lifestyle and that's what you love to do, there's still plenty of time. Obviously, you make time to build your kind of side business here, serving people, men of abundance, living life abundance, and it sounds like it's taking on a life of its own, which is really great to hear. So, you don't just have to up and quit your job to start a business. You can do both. And if you still like that job, keep the job if it's fulfilling and it makes part of your abundant life. I think that is, it's really good insight to see. So I was checking out your website, and I had to bring this up. It says, start making waves in your life. Give our listeners a little bit of insight of what that's all about and where that came from.
Well, that comes from an ever evolving website. And I'm always brainstorming new things and trying to, really kind of, to be quite frank with you, it's really kind of trying to doing what I can to define what living a life of abundance is. And at that point in time, when I put that up there on my website, I was listening to a coach and a mentor, and I was listening to some other stuff. And basically what came to my mind was so many people are just sitting in stagnant water. And with their job, with their vocation, even with their business, or with their life in general, with their relationships, with their health and fitness, they're just sitting in stagnant water. And there's a lot of dead stuff in stagnant water. It starts to stink, right?
That is true.
So you need the water churning. You need it moving. You need your life moving. You need constant excitement in your life. You need excitement in your marriage. You need something as simple as, one day just like for my wife's birthday, and we're about due again here pretty soon. I just secretly put some, staycation together or something like that, and do something that we haven't done before. Stay at a hotel, that we haven't stayed at before. Eat at a restaurant we haven't eaten at before. These little things, you don't have to make big waves in your life. They can be little ripples that make a big effect in your life. Take your kids, grab your kids, just say, hey, you know what, plan for this stuff. Live life on purpose. And plan for an event, something that you want to, one of your kids loves basketball. There's the Harlem Globetrotters coming to town or something like that. Get out. Do something you wouldn't normally do at least once a month. Optimally, more than that, but at the very least once a month. Do something you wouldn't normally do. It really creates excitement in your life. It exposes you and you experience things that you hadn't normally experienced. And one of the things I always say is collect experiences, not stuff, because they last so much longer.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Totally true.
Sense?
That is great. I mean, that's really just simple, start making waves in your life. Simple saying, but obviously a huge impact, and really encourage people to just do something different. I think a lot of times we get bogged down in whether we're running a business or working in a job, just kind of doing the same thing over and over and always thinking, I got to work. I got to check email. The world will keep spinning if you take a day or two off from doing that. And I think the impact, like you said, those little ripples could have a huge effect when you build those things into, what you're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. So that's great. The great insight. So with that being said, what are the future plans for Men of Abundance? Sounds like it's with it taking on a life of its own. What does the future hold?
Yeah, so the immediate future here, I have my date set by April 15th to have a full membership site set up. And I was originally planning on doing this on Facebook, but as one of my coaches had told me, no, you're not going to do it on Facebook. You're going to do it on your website. And I'm going to have a plugin where I'm going to have a membership site specifically built onto my website. It's going to be like a forum where I can control the content much easier, and it's much easier to communicate with the men that get into the Men of Abundance Society is the name of it, the Men of Abundance Society membership. And then we'll see what happens after that. One of the things that I would like to do, I'm definitely going to get this book finished and get it published. I've got more than enough stories to put in there now with 70 episodes at this point and others already in queue ready to go. And, who knows, someday maybe go out and do some traveling and some speaking and stuff like that on the subject. But right now, that's something I'm considering. But right now, I really want to get this membership site started. And the reason for that is because I was contacted, as I said a couple times, for some, to coach people and to mentor people. And I'm like, complete transparency, I really don't know how to set up a program like that. And after talking to other folks in the industry and in the niche, for me, the best thing to do is to set up a membership site. It's much more personal, and it won't just be me. Once you get a group of people together, so everybody has something to offer. Every single person has something to offer. And what I've seen in the memberships that I'm in is sometimes the main facilitator, the main purpose, and the main reason why you got into that, they're active in there, but they don't always answer all the questions. And sometimes the best questions comes from one of the other members, or some of the answers come and suggestions will come from the other members. And I just love it. I love it when people come together and help each other out. So I'm super excited about that.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. That'll definitely be something exciting. We'll definitely let link that up for our listeners to check out for any men looking to network and collaborate with other men, living a life of abundance, and the power of the group, kind of like what Napoleon Hill said a long time ago, the power of a mastermind is just so much more valuable when you have everybody in a collective group striving for the same things and, learning from each other, helping each other out. And I totally agree with, instead of the one-on-one coaching, really building a group and a membership and a community to serve more people and have them serve each other as well. So, and with your statement that, you were encouraged to build it on your site instead of someone else's, that's really a good business tip for anybody out there. When you're thinking of building a business, try and build it on your property, not on somebody else's property, because Facebook could always change the algorithms or get rid of groups or everything like that. So if you are building a business around it, Facebook and social media are a great way to attract customers and clients. But if you're going to build a business, try and build it on your property instead of somebody else's. So,
yeah. And Paul, from a business standpoint on that, I want to point out too, it's much easier for receiving invoices. It's much easier for communication. You just have so much more control. There's different plugins out there with different features, but you just have so much more control, and it's much more. It's much more of a professional way to set up such a membership site.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that additional insight on that as well. So, if you are looking to build any sort of membership program, no matter what type of business you are. Ironically, I just got an email from somebody that power washed our house last year, and now they're setting up a membership where you can invest in a membership and then you get access to all their services. So it seems like that's definitely the way the market is trending. So if that is something you're interested, definitely check that out. So, well, Wally, this has been great, but as you know, all good things do come to an end. After all, it is almost 5 a.m. where you're at. So, and our show is all about freedom. So we don't want to take up too much of your time, as we know it is valuable, or our listeners' time. But before we sign off, it is time for our rapid recommendations for all things related to systems, automation, and freedom. So I'm going to give you 6 different topics. You're going to give our listeners one item in each to help them get to where they want to go much quicker. What about one book?
One book. When it comes to recommending books, generally I like to know where the people are at in life. But to be safe on this one, I will recommend Abundance by Peter Diamandis. One caveat on that is if you like to read data, get the hard copy. But otherwise, I recommend the audio first. I've got the audio and the hard copy because I just studied that book. And Abundance is about how much it proves how much abundance there is in the world, and where it's at, and how we can help other people access the abundance. And I'm talking everything from water, food, education, just everything that we think about in life. There is so much abundance out there. It's just there's some greed that keeps it from getting to everybody it needs to get to. And it's just an excellent, excellent book.
Very cool. Thank you for that. We'll definitely link that up in our show notes. What about one quote that you like to live by?
Well, since we were just talking about memberships, and my true belief is that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Great quote. So think about that a little bit, digest it, and a quote that I kind of like to tie into that one always is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So put yourself in groups where you are uncomfortable, so that way you get to where you want to go. With all this technology talk, is there one tool that you like to use regularly? The tool that just saves my life more than anything as far as technology is Acuity scheduling. Awesome. So
that's my calendar. I cannot live with that thing. There's no way.
I hear you. So Acuity scheduling is another great calendar scheduling tool, much like Schedule One's, Calendly, whatever it is. When you have a system to take care of your calendar, it makes your life that much more stress-free. What about one podcast that you like to listen to regularly?
Right now, the podcast that I'm listening to and I absolutely love is called Flipped Lifestyle with Shane and Jocelyn Sams. They're a real family that started. They have their entire income online, but one of the biggest things that they talk about is membership sites.
There you go.
And you can see why, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're such an unbelievable couple, because after every single episode, they talk about their can't miss moment, things that they would have missed if they had not lived this lifestyle, their flipped lifestyle. Then they have a Bible verse, and then they close the show off. It's just a beautiful show.
Awesome. So we'll definitely link that up as well, Flipped Lifestyle. What about one community that you like to hang out in, either in person, in Hawaii, or online?
The community that I hang out in most of the time right now is podcast websites. It's the community where I have my whole podcast is hosted on podcast websites. And it's actually co-created by Mark Asquith and John Lee Dumas. just some amazing people in there that are always there and ready to help me with anything that I need. And then I like sharing what I've learned in this industry and in this niche with everybody else.
Very cool. So yeah, if you are looking to get a podcast up and running and don't know anything or don't want to spend the time or energy to build that website and have an expert do it for you instead, we are all about delegation. So definitely check out podcast websites. And before we go, what is one parting piece of advice for a business owner out there who is stuck, burned out, or just trying to get over the hump?
Just live, man. Just live life. I don't want to make it like I'm not about making money, because I am about making money. Just understand that you do not have to have a 6 and 7 figure income to live a life of abundance. You have to be happy first. You have to realize your abundance and be grateful for what you have today and make those connections. And one of the things I hear people say all the time is your network is your net worth. Well, I like networking, but the truth of the matter is your relationships. It doesn't rhyme, but your relationships are your net worth. You got to make relationships and make connections with people, true connections with people. And by doing so, you're just greatly enhancing your life. And don't just think about the money. Think about life, living life. And that's what it's all about.
Great. Well said. Very inspiring conversation here. So, Wally Carmichael, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and early morning to impart some of your knowledge, wisdom, and enthusiasm to our community. Hopefully this helps everyone out there get one step closer to achieving that ultimate freedom in their business and in life. But before we sign off, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you?
The easiest way is just go to menofabundance.com. And if you're on any of the social media that I'm on, it's all in the upper right-hand corner or upper left-hand corner. Click on any of those. You can find me on all the social media sites, but menofabundance.com.
Perfect. So we'll definitely link that up as well for all those folks that aren't at a computer or they're driving or running or doing whatever they're doing on their day. So menofabundance.com. Like you said, all his social media links are there as well. Facebook.com/Wally Carmichael, Facebook.com/Men of Abundance, or if you are a Twitter person, it's just Wally Carmichael. So, Wally, thanks again. Everybody else out there, stay tuned for next week's episode as we dive into another fantastic interview with business coaching expert Kelly Roach from Kelly Roach International. And if you like what you're hearing, we'd always appreciate a friendly review, subscribe, or share with your friends. So until next time, don't forget you can join our free Facebook group at bizfreedomformula.com, where we can continue the conversation with like-minded entrepreneurs who are also listening on the show and putting the plans in place to work less, make more, while increasing the value of their business and achieving ultimate freedom. So, Wally, thanks again for spending some time with us today.
Man, it's been my pleasure. Seriously. Aloha.
Aloha to everyone else out there. Keep rocking, trust the process, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks a lot for listening to this episode of the Business Owner's Freedom Formula Show with your host, Paul Maskill. Go online, paulmaskill.com, for more great content and information. On Facebook.com/Business Freedom Formula, and you can tweet Paul anytime at Paul Maskill. We'll catch you next time on the Business Owner's Freedom Formula Show.